Broadcasting live from the mountains of Montana, get ready for an hour of pure, unapologetic conservative talk radio. Liberals beware, because this is the Wise Conservative Show.
Hello and welcome to episode 118 of the Wise Conservative Show. I am your host, Connor Wise. And we've talked about this before in the past. We've noticed it throughout the past 10 or so years now. Democrats have a very hard time understanding the way time works and understanding the way jobs and an economy works. So, if you haven't heard, Obama just gave a speech in California supporting the candidates running there and supporting the Democratic Party in general. But he made a huge mistake. Now, if you recall, a few years ago, Obama gave a speech at a town hall, or he answered a question at a town hall, and he was talking about how Donald Trump would never be able to bring jobs back to America, how no one would be able to. He said that these jobs, we just need to accept the fact that they're not coming back, and that Trump would need a magic wand to bring jobs back to America. Well, in the speech he just gave in California, he's going back on that and actually taking credit for the jobs that President Obama has brought to America. So I have these audio clips for you guys that actually go over this dramatic change and, well, the hypocrisy of Obama. So here first is him taking credit for the jobs that President Trump has brought.
When you hear how great the economy is doing right now, let's just remember when this recovery started, suddenly Republicans are saying it's America. I have to kind of remind them, actually, those job numbers are the same as they were in 2015, in 2016.
All right, and now here's what he said a couple years ago at a town hall.
Because some of those jobs of the past are just not going to come back. And when somebody says, like the person you just mentioned, who I'm not going to advertise for, that he's going to bring all these jobs back. Well, how exactly are you going to do that? What are you going to do? There's no answer to it. He just says, well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal. Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have?
And so he went on to say, oh, it's not possible, even more, continuing, as he does, he gives very long answers, so I cut it down for you guys there. But he's basically saying that Donald Trump would never be able to do what we've seen him do. He's saying that because he couldn't do it, because Obama's restrictive policies, and he was actually bragging about those restrictive policies earlier in this answer, because of his policies not working, he's thinking that Donald Trump wouldn't be able to bring jobs back when he negotiates better trade deals, when he negotiates better rates for companies, and when he negotiates less regulations for these companies. But we all know that he did, and that he's had historic GDP growth. He's had historic jobs. The amount of jobs coming back to America it's unheard of. Donald Trump has done what President Obama said way back then that he couldn't. I believe that was in 2016 that he said that magic wand comment. Well, President Trump is now responding to Obama taking credit for those jobs. On Monday, Trump tweeted out, President Trump would need a magic wand, and this is a quote that he's saying right now, would need a magic wand to get to 4% GDP, stated President Obama. I guess I have a magic wand, 4.2%, and we will do much better than this. We have just begun. Now, of course, we already know that Donald Trump's policies have worked. Of course, we already know that, well, Obama was wrong. But this is just like what happened when Obama was president. When Obama was president, he was talking about how nothing economically that was happening was his fault, that all of the recession of 2008, everything was Bush's fault. That when the stimulus package failed, it was because of Bush. That everything that happened was Bush's fault. But then, Now that President Trump's in office and the economy's picking back up, it's suddenly Obama's fault? You see, Democrats don't understand how an economy works. Once you take out the policies, because Donald Trump has pretty much taken out every single regulation, hundreds of regulations that President Obama put into place in a wide variety of industries. After those were taken out, that's when the economy started picking back up. That's when jobs and companies started coming back to America. It makes no sense whatsoever that once Obama's legacy was completely taken out, once all of his policies were completely destroyed, it makes no sense why the credit should be his. Democrats think that the economy picking up is still just the stimulus package working a long time after it was put into place. Or the regulations that Obama negotiated with other nations or that he put into place in our own nation, they're finally working. But that's just not true because those regulations don't exist anymore. The stimulus package, all it did was waste governmental money and bail out a few companies that quite honestly can't survive in the free market on their own. Obama's legacy, which he's still trying to solidify by this, his legacy is completely destroyed. His legacy, what even is left, is the recession. Are those terrible job numbers, a high unemployment rate, the highest percentage of people on food stamps since its creation. That's Obama's legacy. It's not the economy right now. It's not the record stock market highs. It's not the 4.2% GDP growth that Trump has reached. Obama's legacy is not the massive amounts of companies bringing jobs back to America, whether it's in Minnesota or California or in Texas. Companies are coming back to the U.S. But see, Obama was so worried about his legacy as he was leaving office, and even to this day, that anything that good happens within the Trump presidency, I guarantee even if Trump wins second term and something good happens, Obama will take credit for it. Because he knows that he doesn't have a good legacy. He knows that Obamacare was a failure, that every other policy, regulation that he put into place has been stripped down pretty much. He knows that he caused the recession, that he didn't help our economy whatsoever. So anything good that happens, he's going to try to claim as his own. He's going to try and say that the stock market looks at the past to actually decide what's good and what's not. He's trying to say that when companies are looking whether they need to come back to the U.S., whether they're going to hire more U.S. citizens, Obama thinks that they look at past policies, that they look at the regulations that Obama once had in place, instead of looking at what Trump is putting in place in the future and what he's already taken out. The economy runs on speculation. It runs on looking to the future and deciding on what risks you're going to take. That's exactly how the stock market works. That's exactly how companies decide what they're going to do next. They look at the future, they look at the present, they look at what they have and what they could have, and they decide what will benefit them the most. They don't look to the past. They don't look to Obama's presidency to decide whether they're going to hire more people today or tomorrow. They don't look at 2015 and 2016 numbers to decide what they're going to do in 2019. Democrats have always gotten this wrong. They've always thought that no matter what happens, it's because of them. If it's good, or if something bad happens, it's the previous president, it's the Republican. Even though that's not how economies, that's not how the stock market, that's not how anything works in the real world. They're going to continually claim that all of these achievements are because of Obama, because they can't accept the fact that crazy Donald Trump, that businessman Donald Trump, that reality TV star Donald Trump knows how to run a nation. They can't accept the fact that because Donald Trump has had such a history in negotiating deals, that he's made better deals. They can't accept the fact that the man that they said day in and day out, that they continually said would never win the presidency, they can't accept the fact that he's doing good, that he's listening to the American people, and that he's getting jobs back, that he has the lowest minority unemployment rate in history, that he's crushed Obama's GDP growth, he's crushed jobs added. They can't accept that. And they can't accept that Trump even won the election at all. They're still trying to find ways to bring back up the election and try to change the results. And that's why this past week, Elizabeth Warren is saying that we might need to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Donald Trump from office. Now, of course, this is in the aftermath of that New York Times op-ed, which I didn't cover last week. But basically, someone, if you haven't heard, someone who claims to be inside the Trump administration is saying that them and a few other people are working against Donald Trump as a part of the resistance, and that Donald Trump is unfit to be president, and that he's extremely frustrated with this anonymous writer who posted to the New York Times. And so, of course, there's been a string of people saying that they didn't write it, that it wasn't them, and no one knows who wrote this. I think it might not have been anyone from actually inside the administration. It's an anonymous op-ed, so there's no proof that it's true. But because of that op-ed, Elizabeth Warren is saying that she thinks constitutional powers ought to be used to remove President Trump because of what was said in the op-ed. Now, this was in an interview where she was talking to CNN, and she said, quote, "If senior administration officials think the President of the United States is not able to do his job, then they should invoke the 25th Amendment. The Constitution provides for a procedure whenever the Vice President and senior officials think the President can't do his job. It does not provide that senior officials go around the President, take documents off his desk, write anonymous op-eds. Every one of these officials have sworn to uphold the Constitution of the United States. It's time for them to do their job." Now, so basically what happens when you invoke this process, the amendment allows the vice president to take over if the commander-in-chief is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. And so because of this op-ed, people, Democrats and the news are saying that Trump isn't fit for office and that this has to happen. It's their duty as Americans to invoke this. Now, she went also, Elizabeth Warren, I think she's setting up a 2020 run from the amount that she's been talking about this, but she went also, tweeting a bunch about it, starting, with a bunch of things. She basically restated that if senior officials believe that this is unfit, that they need to invoke it. And then she continued saying, "This isn't about politics. This is about the safety of our children, the national security of our nation, and the future of our democracy. Tell the cabinet if Trump is unfit, invoke the 25th. And she tagged her own website that has, it's her campaign website, and it urges followers to sign up, basically, for her campaign. And, Elizabeth Warren, we've known that she's crazy for quite a while. Pocahontas. We've known that she is pretty much destined to set up a presidential run pretty soon. Now, we already saw Cory Booker setting up his presidential run during the Kavanaugh hearings, and I think Elizabeth Warren also wanted some of the limelight. So basically what she's doing is saying, hey, look at me. I can say that Donald Trump isn't good too. Vote for me. And Democrats will vote for her because of it. But there's no proof anywhere from a substantial source that says that Donald Trump isn't fit for office. In fact, anyone who's not an Obama holdee in the administration has great respect for Donald Trump and says that he's a very great person for the job. Now, there's tons of Obama holdees still in the Trump administration, well, because you can't replace every single person in the government. And so, if it did come from anyone in the administration, I guarantee it's not actually a senior official, and I guarantee that it's someone who doesn't actually deal with President Trump directly. I guarantee it's an Obama holdee. I guarantee that it's someone who definitely was full-heartedly against Donald Trump in the election and is extremely politically biased against him. This op-ed doesn't prove anything. All it shows is that Democrats are still stooping to lows and that the New York Times and the rest of the media really don't care about the truth anymore or facts anymore. They don't fact-check anything that they post if it's about Donald Trump. They don't check to see if this was actually someone from within the administration. No, they just publish anything nowadays. Anonymous sources are the number one source in the news nowadays, and it just proves that they don't care about whether what they're posting is true or not. They just care whether it's against Donald Trump. They just care whether it badmouths Donald Trump or it discredits him in some way. All right, I'm going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Wise Conservative Show. Hey everybody, Connor Wise here with an exclusive clip from the Wise Conservative Show. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. And we have to continually remember that if we let the wrong people get in power, those liberties can be taken away. We have to remember that government is just a burden on the people, that it's not our savior, that it's not who gives us our rights. People all across America are waking up and realizing that fake news isn't helping our nation. People are realizing that they don't deliver the facts, nor do they deliver the truth. The fake news era is coming to an end, and that's exactly why Patriot News Radio was created. On Patriot News Radio, you have a wide selection of conservative talk hosts, including myself, with the Wise Conservative Show. Patriot News Radio streams 24/7 on TuneIn Radio, so you can just go to the app or to the website and stream it. Also, if you have a Google Home device, all you have to do is say, "Hey Google, play Patriot News Radio," and there you have it, Patriot News Radio, right in your own home. Patriot News Radio delivers you the facts and the truth 24/7. Patriot News Radio, where America comes to talk.
Ever wanted to learn the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in less than 10 minutes? Are you looking for the truth about the so-called gender wage gap? Well, my friends, I'll let you in on a little secret. Prager University is a source that I use all the time when preparing for my show, the Jason Veely Program. Dennis Prager and his team have put together a remarkable organization that seeks to explain and spread Americanism through the power of the internet. Their short yet extremely informative videos reach more than 100 million people per year, and they want to reach you as well. Go on YouTube and type in Prager University, or go to prageru.com for all of their latest content. That's Prager, the letter U.com. PragerU.com.
Are you having trouble getting a merchant account? Maybe you need an international payment gateway, or you just got rejected by another merchant account provider. No problem. iPayTotal wants your business. Our high-risk merchant accounts allow you to accept all major credit and debit cards. Our Moto payment gateway allows accepting transactions on the phone. iPayTotal delivers payment solutions and products to help grow your business. Contact us now for your payment processing at iPayTotal.com. iPayTotal, your online payments partner.
Calling all young conservatives. Have you ever wanted to write for an online publication? What about host your own conservative radio program? Now you can, thanks to YouthRevolt.org. Youth Revolt is a conservative media network for young people, the goal of which is to educate our fellow Americans and also to expose the left-wing indoctrination that goes on in classrooms across the country. Become part of a team that is dedicated to taking the country back, one radio program or opinion column at a time. If you're interested, go to youthrevolt.org and click on Join Us on the top of the page. Fill out our brief questionnaire, and one of our representatives will be in touch with you in no time at all. The time to reclaim our future is now. Be a part of something that's bigger than yourself, and join the movement today. Youth Revolt. Speak without fear.
A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There are people in this nation that would have you give up your rights, that would have you turn in your guns. We have these people who are in office. We have these people who are marching in our streets that are walking out of their schools. People who think that your right is not important. On the Wise Conservative Show, we know that your rights matter, and we will tell you the truth about your liberties. We will tell you the truth about all the issues happening and the facts around all of these debates. For your daily dose of conservatism, for your daily dose of the facts and the truth. Tune into the Wise Conservative Show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on Youth Revolt. Crazy Maxine Waters is back at it, attacking Donald Trump and Donald Trump's supporters. Hello, everybody. I'm Connor Wise. Welcome back to the Wise Conservative Show. So we all know that Maxine Waters has said some pretty crazy things over the past few years, and that she's made it a staple in her agenda and in her campaigning that she really wants to impeach Donald Trump. Well, she escalated her rhetorical assault on President Trump over the weekend, vowing to get him and repeating the word impeachment many, many times. Now, of course, earlier she's urged her supporters to confront Trump administration officials and Trump supporters, but we'll get to that in a second. Her recent comments, while they don't urge people to attack Trump supporters and officials, well, they're still pretty crazy. She said, quote, "There's a difference in how some of our leadership talk about how we should handle all of this. They say, Maxine, please don't say impeachment anymore. And when they say that, I say impeachment, 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 impeachment," and she continues for a few more impeachments. Now, this was in a video posted by the American Mirror. She said that she wakes up in the middle of the night and, quote, "All I can think about is I'm going to get him," of course, in reference to Donald Trump. To me, it sounds like she has a very unhealthy obsession with Donald Trump. I mean, waking up in the middle of the night. But Maxine Waters, of course, is completely crazy about this, and her number one issue is impeaching him. And when you ask her, why should Donald Trump be impeached? She doesn't have an answer. She doesn't know why he should be impeached. She just knows that it's her mission, that it's her life mission to uphold our democracy by impeaching Donald Trump. Now, of course, with her controversial comments back in June, urging people to attack Trump officials, she said, quote, "If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd and you push back on them and you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere." And she claimed right after that she wasn't calling for protesters to actually harm cabinet members. But on Saturday, she actually brought up these remarks again, trying to double down on the fact that then she wasn't urging it. But listen to what she said. She said, quote, "It frightened a lot of people. And of course, the lying president said that I had threatened all of his constituents. I did not threaten his constituents, his supporters. I do that all the time, but I didn't do it that time." So she just admitted to saying that she wants to threaten Donald Trump's constituents, and that she does, and his supporters. But because she didn't do it that one time, even though if you actually listen to the quote and the context she did, that it's okay. Maxine Waters has this crazy, unhealthy obsession with impeaching and harming Donald Trump, his supporters, his constituents, his administration. Maxine Waters has this crazy obsession with Donald Trump, and she thinks that it makes her the perfect candidate. She thinks that it makes her the perfect politician, that she's going to save us. But the truth is, she's not going to save us. The truth is, she's not helping anyone, and she's actually causing harm to officials. Because after this happened, we saw crowds gather around Trump supporters. We saw crowds gather around officials, around Sessions, around other cabinet members. We saw them threaten them. We heard them threaten them. You see, this craziness that these politicians, that these leaders in the Democratic Party are promoting isn't healthy. It's not good for our nation. All they're doing is being more divisive than ever before, encouraging Democrats, encouraging independents, anyone to go out and harm our president. And she doesn't back down from it. She admits that she wants them to have harm come to them. She admits that she's threatened them and that she wants to impeach Donald Trump time after time. You see, this is exactly why we have to really be vigilant in this upcoming election. We have to make sure that every Republican gets out and votes, that even independents get out and vote for Republicans. Because Maxine Waters is who you're voting for if you vote for the Democratic Party. This craziness, this obsession with impeaching and with harming Donald Trump is what you're voting for if you vote for Democrats. Because if they get the majority in the House, which right now I don't think they will, I'm predicting that they won't. But if they do, they're going to draft impeachment articles the next day that they can. They're going to be trying to impeach Donald Trump from the second that they can, and they won't stop. Maxine Waters will be leading them all the way into this unnecessary process. And when you ask them, even after the election, why they're doing this, they still won't have an answer. But impeachment has become sort of a buzzword for Waters and her supporters. Impeachment is now a buzzword for them. They use it right alongside all of the other Democratic buzzwords: racist, homophobic, Islamophobic, xenophobic, all of these different things that they continually say and call Donald Trump and his supporters. Impeachment is just another one of those buzzwords now. And they think that it's going to help them. They think that it makes them look sane and helping our democracy. But in the end of the day, Democrats like Maxine Waters, not only do they hurt the party, they hurt our nation as a whole. They hurt America because what they're doing is polarizing and dividing our nation. We have one of the most polarized nations that we've had in a very long time politically. And it's not helping when you have leaders of the free world standing up there and urging harm to the president. When you have these leaders, these representatives, these senators getting up there saying that Donald Trump should be injured. When you have these celebrities getting up in front of crowds and saying that they want to blow up the White House. I played for you, it was a couple months ago now, I think, the new GOP ad that came out talking about how unhinged the left is. And I mean, it's true. You have actors, you have singers, you have politicians admitting that they want to hurt, that they want to kill the President of the United States. And they think it's okay. The left has become very unhinged, and Maxine Waters is the poster child of the Democratic movement. You see Maxine Waters every day leading the Democratic movement further and further extreme, further left, further authoritarian, further against freedom and our president. And they don't stop. You even have people lying after it's been fact-checked, creating these crazy narratives about whether it's Donald Trump or his cabinet members, or even most recently, Kavanaugh. Now, we all know that Kavanaugh is a pretty amazing choice for the Supreme Court no matter what political side you sit on. He has so many different court rulings where he has shown that he upholds the Constitution. Well, Democrats have been spreading this rumor, and Hillary Clinton is one of them. A Democratic talking point it's become, basically, about Kavanaugh, using the phrase abortion-inducing drugs. Now, before we even get into this has been fact-checked by even left-leaning sites, and it's been proven wrong. So in his confirmation hearing on Thursday, so last week, Kavanaugh was asked about a case he ruled on involving Priests for Life. Now, that's a pro-life group that was challenging Obamacare's contraceptive mandate that the group said violated its religious beliefs. Kavanaugh said, quote, "That was a group that was being forced to provide certain kind of health coverage over their religious objection to their employees. And under the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, the question was this a substantial burden on the religious exercise? And it seemed to me quite clearly it was. It was a technical matter of filling out a form in that case. In that case, they said filling out the form would make them complicit in the provision of the abortion-inducing drugs that were, as a religious matter, objected to." Now, if you notice there, he did say abortion-inducing drugs. And he was quoting the priests that were in the court case. But Democrats jumped all on it, Kamala Harris being one of the first ones to, saying, quote, "Kavanaugh chooses his words very carefully, and this is a dog whistle for going after birth control. He was nominated for the purpose of taking away a woman's constitutionally protected right to make her own healthcare decisions. Make no mistake, this is about punishing women." Well, first off, I don't know how you can get that from him talking about a past case, but sure, Democrats really want to jump on it, trying to say that because he talked about contraceptives and abortion-inducing drugs, quoting this priest group, it means that he just stated his own opinion, that he thinks that even contraceptives shouldn't be allowed, that birth control should not be allowed for women. That's what they were saying after this. Well, it was proven very quickly that it wasn't true, that he didn't say that, and that, well, even PolitiFact, which we all know is very liberal-leaning, it rated it false. With the headline, "Did Brett Kavanaugh call birth control abortion-inducing drugs?" No. In Kamala Harris's tweet, Kavanaugh appears to define contraception as abortion-inducing, and this comes from a video that Kamala Harris attached to her tweet as well. But basically what happened in the video is she cut up the video. She cut up Kavanaugh's statement, making it sound like he wasn't talking about someone else, that he wasn't quoting someone else. So it literally cut off the context to twist what he was saying into a campaign matter. And, well, right after that, of course, it was proven wrong, but after it was proven wrong, Hillary Clinton still did not heed the advice to not post any more about it, and in a very lengthy Twitter storm just today, she accused Kavanaugh of using a dog whistle to the extreme right. Now, she really did say quite a bit. I'm going to read you guys a little bit of it. She started off, "I want to be sure we're all clear about something that Brett Kavanaugh said in his confirmation hearings last week. He referred to birth control pills as, quote, abortion-inducing drugs. That set off a lot of alarm bells for me, and it should for you too. Kavanaugh didn't use that term because he misunderstands the basic science of birth control, the fact that birth control prevents fertilization of eggs in the first place. He used that term because it's a dog whistle to the extreme right." Whatever that means. Apparently, using dog whistle to the extreme right is becoming another Democratic talking point. Kamala Harris said the exact same thing. But basically what they were trying to say is that Kavanaugh wants to punish women, that Kavanaugh thinks that birth control shouldn't be allowed, and that he's this extreme religious fanatic, that he's going to do whatever President Trump asks, especially if it's in terms of regulating women. But that's not true. He never said anything like that, and it's not even close to being true whatsoever. There's not even a shred of truth in anything the Democrats are saying. This just shows the amount that Democrats have become unhinged, that leftists have gone extreme in this election. Because they think that if they can raise up enough of a storm about Kavanaugh that he won't get confirmed, and they can use that as a campaign point. But we know that Kavanaugh is going to get confirmed, and most Democrats have already admitted that he's going to get confirmed. I mean, he's a great choice. But because of political pettiness, political differences, Democrats are bringing up lies and trying to stop one of the most qualified candidates for Supreme Court this nation has ever seen. Trying to stop him because Donald Trump nominated him. And it just shows that, the childness that the left has really adopted. The amount that they've become unhinged and the craziness that they are now embracing and claiming is normal. They're claiming that all of this lying, that these anonymous sources, and that blatantly cutting up a video to change what it means, they claim that that's normal and that that's not crazy or unhinged. But it is clearly unhinged. It is clearly not helping anyone in this case. I'm going to take one last quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Wise Conservative Show. Hey everybody, Connor Wise here with an exclusive clip from the Wise Conservative Show. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. And that's how a government should be run, folks. You can't legislate based on emotion, based on morality. You have to legislate based on the truth and the facts. It's something that Democrats seem to have struggled with, and something that they continue to struggle with when it comes to the immigration debate.
wanted to learn the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in less than 10 minutes? Are you looking for the truth about the so-called gender wage gap? Well, my friends, I'll let you in on a little secret. Prager University is a source that I use all the time when preparing for my show, the Jason Veely Program. Dennis Prager and his team have put together a remarkable organization that seeks to explain and spread Americanism through the power of the internet. Their short yet extremely informative videos reach more than 100 million people per year, and they want to reach you as well. Go on YouTube and type in Prager University, or go to prageru.com for all of their latest content. That's Prager, the letter U.com. prageru.com.
People all across America are waking up and realizing that fake news isn't helping our nation. People are realizing that they don't deliver the facts, nor do they deliver the truth. The fake news era is coming to an end, and that's exactly why Patriot News Radio was created. On Patriot News Radio, you have a wide selection of conservative talk hosts, including myself with the Wise Conservative Show. Patriot News Radio streams 24/7 on TuneIn Radio, so you can just go to the app or to the website and stream it. Also, if you have a Google Home device, all you have to do is say, "Hey Google, play Patriot News Radio," and there you have it, Patriot News Radio, right in your own home. Patriot News Radio delivers you the facts and the truth 24/7. Patriot News Radio, where America comes to talk.
And that, class, is why America is the worst country in the history of the world.
Are you sick of your professors telling you lies?
Now remember, children, if you're white, it means you're privileged. Don't ever forget that.
Do you sit through class convinced that your head is going to explode at any given moment? Sounds like you could use some backup. Visit youthrevolt.org for exclusive content produced by young conservatives for young conservatives. Youth Revolt features a dedicated team of radio hosts, political columnists, and video bloggers, all of whom are 100% committed to taking back the future of this country. So what are you waiting for? Tune out your Marxist professor and visit youthrevolt.org now.
A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There are people in this nation that would have you give up your rights, that would have you turn in your guns. We have these people who are in office, we have these people who are marching in our streets, that are walking out of their schools. People who think that your right is not important. On the Wise Conservative Show, we know that your rights matter, and we will tell you the truth about your liberties. We will tell you the truth about all the issues happening and the facts around all of these debates. For your daily dose of conservatism, for your daily dose of the facts and the truth. Tune into the Wise Conservative Show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on Youth Revolt. Welcome back to the Wise Conservative Show. I'm your host, Connor Wise. Now, sticking on the line of how crazy the Democratic Party has become, and a lot of the supporters of the Democratic Party have become just as crazy as the actual representatives and senators and officials. So, in California, on Tuesday, there was a Republican House candidate who was attacked by a knife-wielding man who was shouting profanities about President Donald Trump at a local fair. It was actually over the weekend that this happened. So basically what happened was Peters, the candidate, was manning one of the vendor booths at the festival when Fazeli approached him, who was the attacker, approached him in a, quote, aggressive manner and made disparaging remarks about his political party and elected officials. Witness said, all of a sudden we hear someone screaming, F Trump, F Trump. And at that point, Fazeli pulled out a switchblade knife and tried to stab Peters. But the weapon malfunctioned and Peters was okay because of it. The sergeant told the Sacramento Bee that Fazeli may have also thrown a glass mug at Peters. He added that at one point the candidate used a campaign sign to defend himself from the attacker. Now, Fazeli fled the scene but was arrested a short time later on charges of felony assault, criminal threats, brandishing a weapon, and possession of a switchblade, which is, of course, illegal in California. So he is in jail now. So Peters, he's a 56-year-old Navy veteran, if you haven't heard of him. He's taking on a 3-term Democratic incumbent, Eric Sowelli, in California's 15th congressional district. And so he was just trying to campaign, trying to get the word out. And this person who probably was following the orders or the wants of Crazy Maxine, injure people who support Trump, screamed at him and then tried to kill him. And we've seen this in the past by crazy Democratic supporters. We saw the people who shot Scalise. That was a Democratic member. That was someone who supported Bernie Sanders. And we see this, and we've seen these people who surround Republicans and want them to just not be involved in government anymore, who try to threaten them. It's amazingly crazy how much violence has been encouraged by a political party. How much violence has been encouraged and accepted by the Democratic Party. Even after that Bernie Sanders supporter shot Scalise, Bernie Sanders didn't come out and say that he didn't want his supporters to shoot people in his name. When this happens, Democrats don't say that this shouldn't happen. When Maxine Waters encourages people to attack Trump supporters and cabinet members, and they do it, she doesn't come out and say, oh, sorry, you shouldn't actually be attacking people. I was just kidding. Democratic Party officials are actually embracing this violence and this animosity towards Trump supporters to a point where someone will get injured again. Someone's going to get attacked again, and that's going to actually cause some damage. These people have such extreme Trump derangement syndrome that they're willing to stab candidates for Congress, that they're willing to shoot actual Congress members. Person that doesn't want people to prosper, doesn't want America to thrive. That you want democracy to fail because you voted for Donald Trump. The left has become unhinged. The left has become crazy. And this Trump derangement syndrome has gone extremely far. This Trump derangement syndrome has gotten to the point where it's driving some people, the more moderate people, out of the party. And I've talked about this before. The walk away campaign is just gaining support every day. And we notice it in states like Florida, where there's a lot of Democratic people leaving the Democratic Party, becoming either independents or Republicans. We notice it in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in North Carolina, in all of these states that Democrats thought they had. In all of these states that Democrats used to have a lot of supporters, their extremism and their craziness is driving people away. Their extremism is causing people to walk away. And their extremism is just leading to more and more Trump derangement syndrome. It's getting worse, people. It's getting way worse. And people aren't letting it, people aren't letting Trump just get away with being president. That's all for today's episode of The Wise Conservative Show. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. You can find The Wise Conservative Show on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, many more places. Go ahead and like my page on Facebook. Just look up The Wise Conservative Show. I'd like to once again thank you all for tuning in, and as always, God bless.